Now, let's go back to the random part of the video. Let's see, we got 25 left, I think. Was it? Yeah, 25 left. So, let's see who's next. 17 is Skeleton Knight in Another World. I think this one's an isekai. Who knows? Let's give it a go. Alright, I just watched all of Skeleton Knight in Another World, and that was pretty okay. Very super okay. I mean, the fact that I finished it at all is proof that I would recommend it, I guess, though with some caveats. Obviously, the bell, it's an isekai. But what sets this one apart for me is not a whole lot, if I'm being honest. The world building isn't particularly engaging. Pretty basic monster designs and spell systems and all of that. But what sets this one apart for me is that the main character is just having so much fun doing this, and he's just such a vibrant personality. Like, he actually, like, that, it's that small little change that just makes this a lot more bearable than other generic isekai. Like, this dude's just having a blast in this world. And there's moments where he, like, just gets super excited over, like, the specifics of stuff, like when he finds out, like, about the ninja clan and stuff, and just starts obsessing over that, and just makes the overall tone of the series much more upbeat, I guess, and less plotting or slow or anything like that. So I'd say that's probably the biggest selling point of the series, is that it's just not, it has some kind of personality. So I'll give it that much. Certainly not without its hiccups. Has a lot of really, not a lot, but it has enough dumb anime shit in it to make it feel like a chore sometimes. Like it had the fucking walking in on you in the bath scene. I'm like, aren't we done with this already? Why is this trope still around? It fucking sucks. That does lead into another point about this series, is that it is not shy about showing very harsh sexual content, particularly sexual assault and rape. Literally, the first scene of this show is an attempted rape scene, and possibly the best animated attempted rape scene that I've seen. So that was a tone setter. I'll give it that much. Now, in general, I don't have a problem with negative sexual content in the stories I consume. I mean, you can see copies of Berserk right there, so I clearly don't have a problem with it. But this anime made me not realize something about a lot of anime of this ilk in general, is that there's this sort of attitude that pops up in anime sometimes of just any focus on sex is kind of portrayed negatively. Like, in this show specifically, all actual acts of sex are either rape or being done by villains who then proceed to physically abuse the people that they are fucking. Meanwhile, any sexual desire or act done by the good guys is immediately met with physical comedy, a la walking in on the bath scene, and then the main girl uses a fucking fire spell to blow the whole fucking room up. So, it's this very weird attitude towards sex, where basically any kind of sexual idea is portrayed with a negative tone. So, very, very odd choice. And I'm sure Shinzo Abe is looking up from hell now, disapproving of this tone for sure. One of the few things that I agree with him on. But yeah, it's just so weird. Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say on the story. Super straightforward isekai, not a whole lot of variety to it, but it's decently fun to watch, and the characters are pretty vibrant. Not super distinctive as characters, but they get the job done, I guess. Animation's also pretty competent overall. There's occasionally some bad shots here and there, and they do resort to CG models a lot, especially for our main character, Arc, who's just in these really complex armor that would be a pain in the ass to animate. So you see a lot of him as a CG model sometimes, but you also catch like the other human, or not human, but the other not armored characters in CG models sometimes. It's not the worst CG. I can only really tell because the frame rate is so different from the rest of the show, but it's not too distracting, and surprisingly the action scenes are really good a lot of the time. Not always. There are some moments where it's like, it could have been a little better, but on the whole there's some pretty decent sakuga in it. The scenes are pretty hype. They throw like text cards, these stylized text cards up on the screen when they're doing like special like magic attacks or something, so that it adds to the sort of fun, almost like a retro-ish kind of feel to it. So that made it kind of fun. Yeah, I don't know if I would watch a second season because I don't feel particularly interested in where the plot is going. But I don't mind it. This was a totally okay show. And if you're fine with sexual assault being thrown at you right from the first step, give it a go. If not, understandable. But it is what it is. Alright, Skeleton Knight is done. We're gonna put it right there. And this one gets a light 6. Not bad. Could have been more interesting, but not bad. God, I've already finished 22 shows from this year. Well, 22 anime, but anyway. Let's move on to the next show and see what we get. 8 is... Oh, Aharen-san! This one's a cute little rom-com that kind of came out of nowhere. I'm kind of excited for this. Let's go! Alright, well, I made it through 7 episodes of Aharen-san, but unfortunately I don't think I'm going to be finishing this one. It started off pretty strong. The two leads have some really great chemistry with each other. The cute moments are super fucking cute. And it's pretty well directed, too. The comedy is pretty tight. The visual direction is really strong. There's a lot of great reaction images. Just really great visual comedy in it as well. I think that's probably the show's strongest element, is its visual comedy. Like, there are some moments in this that I actually had, like, some gut-busting laughter in it, where the visual of it was so strong that I just started dying laughing. But unfortunately, it's gotten really repetitive over the past couple episodes. Like, there are so many jokes with the exact same formula of Raido-kun says that he's really good at this thing, and then it turns out that he's not good at the thing at all, and then Aharen does the thing, and she turns out to be really good at it. So, far too many of that joke. And the setup for these jokes takes really long, too. So it's a lot of setup for a very repetitive payoff. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I don't dislike the show. There's nothing about it that really annoys me, except for a character, Oshiro, who is like the really tall girl, who I was very scared was going to be a recurring character, but by the end of like episode 3, she was basically gone from the show. So that was good because she sucked. Did not like her at all. And the rest of the cast really doesn't have any personality whatsoever from what I've seen. So that's unfortunate. Shout out to Aharen's cross-dressing little brother, though. That was kind of cute. And, like, there's a scene at the end of episode 6 where she kind of just affirms his taste in clothing, and that was really cute. I don't think it's a statement on gender identity per se, because they still use masculine pronouns. But it was cute nonetheless, and very wholesome. Unfortunately, just not going to continue this show. Would have liked to. Would have liked to see where where the rom part of this rom-com went, because there's really not a lot of like romantic elements yet. I know it gets to that point eventually, but it's mostly just cute stuff at the moment, which I'm totally fine with, but I just wish I would have seen the more romantic side of it before I ended up dropping it. But them's the breaks. Let's move on. Alright, Aharen-san, unfortunately, coming off the list. Let's see what's next. What do we get? 14. What do we got for 14? Miss Shachiku. I have absolutely no idea what this is. Let's find out. Alright, I got up through about half an episode of Miss Shachiku and the Little Baby Ghost. I don't hate it, but there's absolutely no way I could watch a whole series of this. There were some interesting elements to it. The ghost is cute. I will definitely give it that. That certainly seems to be one of the big appeals of the series. And then the opening gag of just a ghost constantly haunting an office lady, and the office lady just completely brushing it off because she's so stressed by the deadlines. That's a mood. Like, fuck you, ghost, stop being creepy, I got shit to do. That was clever, I'll give it that much. But there's something about this show where everything feels too slow. And I mean that in terms of, like, the delivery of different actions. Like, there are shots that just last way too long a lot of the time. Like, a lot of the shots just are... A lot of the things that happen in shots, a lot of the, like, joke deliveries, a lot of the actions, just the general timing of everything feels way too long and too slow. And it kind of just has me, like, leaning in anticipation of, like, just fucking do it already. Just come on, let's do it. So, and if this was supposed to be like a non-Viore kind of thing, I could understand that maybe, but I don't think that's really the tone that it's going for. But in any case, if you like cute baby ghosts, I guess check this one out. Or if you just want a real slow office comedy slice of life thing, maybe. But you could probably find better stuff elsewhere. The art is also... There's something about the line work for this series that annoys me. It feels jagged. Almost like however they rendered it or something, or whatever program they used, did not render the lines properly when they are not just straight up and down or side to side lines. Like, when there's... It just feels... See, this is editor brain kicking in, like, because it's something that I recognize in my line of work. It's like, I know this is an error in a video file. Like, it is absolutely not something that was intentional. If it was, it's a real bizarre choice, but it was very weird to see. So, yeah, not going to continue with this one.
Alright, Miss Shachiku. It's off the list. That brings us down to, what, 22 now, plus all the other ones. Now let's see what we get next. What do we get? 8. Fanfare of Adolescence. No clue what this is. Let's find out.
Okay, so I got through about 6-ish minutes of Fanfare of Adolescence, which is apparently a horse racing anime. Not the fun moe kind like Uma Musume. No, I mean like the actual kind of horse racing. And this show looks like ass on every conceivable level. The character designs and the backgrounds don't mesh at all. There's very clearly a lot of corners cut everywhere, whether it's just static images moving awkwardly across the screen or unfinished CG. The color design just looks like rainbow vomit a lot of the time. It's not good at all. And not that surprising, to be honest, because horses are infamously difficult to draw in anime. Like, when you try to do realistic horses, they are infamously difficult to draw. I think I learned that from Shirobako, actually. So, this production already had an uphill battle, and it did not rise to the occasion at all. Also, it's just not interesting. Like, the setup, the dialogue is really bland and not engaging in any way. There's a lot of generic, like, fluff, inspirational dialogue being thrown in. The humor is bad. This is not good. I'm waiting to see when there's actually going to be another good sports anime. Because I think the last one was the second season of Uma Musume last year. Was that last year? I think that was last year. Yeah, it was last year. I know there's a soccer show airing right now that's like 2 cores, so I'll hit that up in the summer season, see how that goes. But for now, this one is a dud.
Alright. Goodbye, Fanfare of Adolescence. Let's move on, see what we get. 19, a little bit lower on the list. What do we got here? Don't Hurt Me, My Healer. Okay, so the less publicized healing anime this season. Let's see how it goes.
Wow, that was painfully unfunny. I got 6 minutes into Don't Hurt Me, My Healer, and by that point, I was begging for it to turn into Redo the Healer. I fucking hate this character so goddamn much. Frustration comedy is a difficult thing to pull off, and personally, I don't think it should be the cornerstone of your entire show. But that's what it seems to be here, and it's not funny at all. There's really not much else to say about this. It's not a particularly good-looking show, but that's still massively overshadowed by the fact that this show is so unbearably unfunny. I want it gone. Let's move on.
Alright. This one can go away. Alright, and that makes us go down to 20 entries from the random list, which means it's time for another one from the bottom of the list, and it's going to be Love Live Nijigasaki Season 2. I'm ready for some idols, ready for some new bangers. Let's fucking go.
Alright, I just finished all of Love Live Nijigasaki Season 2. That was a lot of fun. I will say I liked it just a smidge less than the first season, but I still have Nijigasaki as my favorite Love Live series of the two that I've seen. I still think I like this one more than Superstars, which apparently is an unpopular opinion, I guess. Apparently, Nijigasaki is like kind of an outlier in the Love Live series, at least in terms of how it's constructed. At least that's my general knowledge of it, I guess. I'm not really someone who would be in the Love Live circles per se, but I really like the series. And one of the things that made the first season of this so fun and awesome to me is that it was just the way it was structured. It was just like character episode, character episode, character episode, character episode, just non-stop until like the last couple episodes. And each one had a song in it. That was what really kind of blew me away about the first season, was it was just non-stop. And unfortunately, I think this second season has about, with the exception of the last episode where they just throw a barrage of like 15-second clips at you, I'd say this second season has about roughly about half the songs as the first season. So that was a little disappointing, but I can understand it, I guess, based on how the story was structured. Now, like, we've gotten all the base characterization out of the way, and now it's a lot more about character dynamics and how everyone relates to each other. We've got some new characters coming in, all of which I really liked. Langzhu, I don't know how to pronounce that, but she's the girl from Hong Kong. She's got this real kind of superior, not haughty, but a little bit of arrogant attitude, and that kind of plays into how her arc goes on in the series. If I wasn't prepared for Love Live being extremely cheesy and melodramatic, I might not have accepted the way that her arc progressed as it did, but that's kind of what you got to expect from Love Live. It is over the top in weird ways, not in like very typical anime ways. It's very, I liken Love Live to musical Logic in a lot of ways, and so I kind of I'm there expecting melodrama. I'm there for very weird dialogue exchanges that are still fun, but they don't sound like things that people normally say a lot of the times. It sounds like I'm kind of making excuses for it, but that's not really the case. I just genuinely love the way that Love Live is written most of the time, especially Nijigasaki. I just love all of these characters and all of the struggles that they're going through. There were some moments that didn't hit. I think just in general, there weren't as many like super hype moments in Season 2 as there were in Season 1. Again, mostly because there's just not as many songs to cap off those big emotional moments. Like, nothing in the second season got me as excited as Tsunagaru Connect, which was Rina's song in the first season, or either of Setsuna's songs, Chase and Dive, in the first season. Nothing in this season really got me as hype as the big moments in Season 1, so that was a little disappointing. Still really good overall. Had a fun time. I'm definitely going to be downloading all the songs later. New favorite character, though, love Mia. I presume she's American, because she can speak English and she likes hamburgers. She's definitely my favorite of the new characters. Not in small part due to the fact that she's very, very into the music side of it. And I related to her a lot in that aspect. So that was pretty fun. Trying to think. God, I thought I had more to say about this. I think I just kind of sped through everything. But but speaking of the characters, I guess this season did have a. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned this already, but the season had more of a shift from individual character moments to character dynamics. And so we got all the different groups forming within the Nijigasaki Club. We got the Quartz, Ayumu, Azusa, I think. Diva Diver, I think, was I and Karin's group name. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to mention. There's definitely a lot more, there's definitely a much more present theme in this one in terms of how the characters interact with the music that they perform in this. And that's sort of a theme of like professionalism versus recreationalism, I guess. Just that we have this push from all different areas to be more professional, more high-barred, just shooting for everything, and just sort of not being as fun about it, I guess, is a word. That's not a really great description of it, but it's as close as I can get in this offhand, off-the-cuff reading. A lot of it comes from like the outside characters like Longzhu coming in and just being like, I'm here to be the best idol. Fuck off. I don't need you. And sort of bridging that gap from that theme into the idea of just being together with everyone and relating to everyone through your art. And so I think it accomplished those themes really well. I was quite happy with that. This is also pretty decently impressive from animation standpoint too, I guess. It's still got some notable off moments like Season 1 did, but I will say I'm not entirely sure, but I think this is the best that the CG has looked in Love Live so far. Like, there were only a couple moments during the CG song performances where I thought the faces looked a little weird. Mostly because the camera's just moving so fucking fast a lot of the time. That does get a little repetitive sometimes, just these back-to-back sweeping camera movements. Could have used a little more variety, but I think just in terms of animation and color direction and compositing, this is the best that Love Live CG has looked so far. And it's still got great character designs, as always. The new character designs are fucking great. Cute outfits, really fucking good music. Again, not as many super banger tracks as the first one, but I am content with what we got. Maybe this one will get a movie like the other two Love Live series before it. I hope so. I would love to see more from this particular group, because there's certainly a lot more story to tell. There's definitely there. I want to see more from Yu, our main-ish character of sorts, who isn't even one of the idols singing, but she's still part of the club. Her story throughout this was so really cool. The way that Longzhu kind of challenges her on like how invested she actually is in this, and the different answers that Yu has throughout the series in response to that. I like Love Live. Well, I really like this particular Love Live entry. I am a huge fan of this. I thought Superstars was good, but it did not connect with me nearly as much as everything in Nijigasaki. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy that I started with Nijigasaki as opposed to other entries. But that's about all I have to say for now, so let's go back to the list.
Alright, Nijigasaki Season 2 is done, and we're going to put it... hold on, gotta move the camera up a little bit. We're going to put it right here. That's a decent placement for it. So, favorite show this spring season so far? Gets a strong 7. Good stuff.